So the next thing I want to talk about is the with that there was an Electrek survey, and 52% reported they would prefer the Key Fob. So it's not just me. I'm not just making this up. It's one of those things. And again, if the phone would work all the time, I get why that would be the thing, right? That would make a lot of sense to me if it just worked. So there you have it. The first big fix that Tesla is putting in for the Model 3. Now, the other one is really interesting, and this is related to version 9 of the software, which it sounds there's all these little leaks and hints coming out about all the different features and everything. One of the biggest complaints, and my wife, who's been driving our Model 3 now for a couple weeks, also has this exact complaint. Says she gets lost all the time, and we'll blame that on the car, is that the navigation directions, the turn-by-turn directions, are on the far right side of the screen. So if you're looking over and you've gotten used to, on the left side of the screen, you can see where the car is, and it has all the different speedometers and the autopilot and all that kind of stuff. The actual turn-by-turn directions are way off to the far right, so you really have to hunt for them. And sometimes if you're navigating to a far place, what you'll actually get are tons of directions that it's just not clear even where you're supposed to look. It's really really poorly designed, I would say. And so reportedly this will be shifting over to the left, as you can see on the image here from Electrek. This is a huge win, I think, and one that I'm surprised took this long. It seems like they were doing all these other kind of weird fixes and changes before doing this, and originally it was on the left side. Some of the older photos of I believe the prototype models or alpha builds had the navigation on the left. So I don't know what they were thinking. It's probably one of those things where a designer sat in a studio and said, "Oh, that makes sense where it should go from like a design standpoint," but never actually drove the car, and so didn't actually experience the real world implications of it. So that's massive. Now, along with version 9, there's a lot more stuff coming out. Here's kind of the new layout as well. You'll have kind of different pop-up menus and things like that. And hopefully with this, we get a browser in the Model 3 as well. So we'll see, because I think the browser would be a big win for anyone using an app like TeslaLab, because with that, what we can do, we being TeslaLab, can bring you a custom interface, a custom dashboard that gives you, extends the functionality, adds on, enhances your experience. Whereas right now in the Model 3, you're sorely limited because you can't do that. And anyone that has TeslaLab, that knows about this, there's an in-car dashboard we built, which has like a Doppler radar and some efficiency stats. It has Waze, and we're working. I mean, right now it just doesn't work, but I want to be able to stream Spotify through it as well. So we're trying to get some more features there, and basically a browser gives us an interface into the car. That way we can connect essentially your car and the browser. So it's fantastic. I'm really looking forward, at least to them switching this over to the left side. And then if we get a browser, I think that would be a huge win as well. All right, so more good news rolling in for Tesla here. Tesla was awarded the 5-star safety rating for the Model 3. I don't know if I want to watch this. Should we watch this video, guys? Should we do it? It's a Tesla crashing. Do we want to see that? Okay, you convinced me. Let's just have a look here and see what this looks like. I'm a little... Yeah. It's just painful to see such a beautiful, well-done car. What you can see essentially from these crashes is how well this car performs in these scenarios. Particularly the front crash section right here highlights the impact zone, that crumple zone, by not having an engine in there. It really helps with protecting this. So the Model 3 essentially gets a perfect score from the NHTSA in their safety ratings here. I think this is fantastic. I'm excited about this because cars do need to be safer. It's not realistic, I think, for people for people to become better drivers. That's just not going to happen. It's more about the cars need to get safer, and electric motors and Teslas in particular allow that greater than anyone else. So enough of the car crashing. That's going to make me really depressed. But if you take a look, you can see on the website, on the NHTSA website, I think it's just NHTSA.gov/ratings. You can go look this up. You just search search for the car, the 2018 Tesla Model 3. It gets a 5-star, the overall rating, frontal crash, side crash, and rollover. So beautiful. It's great. And now it looks like they have the all-wheel drive hasn't been completed yet, but it also has a 5-star in the side crash and rollover. So good news. Now, if you look at the competitors for this car, and by the competitors, I'm saying all the top 5 cars that are being traded in for it, which are the Camry, the Civic, the Honda Accord, all that, they all have perfect scores as well, with the exception of a couple of them here. The Toyota Corolla, I'm looking at the 2018 Toyota Corolla here, did not get a 5-star in the frontal crash or the rollover. It only got 4. So the Toyota Model 3 is a bit safer. The Tesla Model 3 is a bit safer than the Toyota Corolla. And then the 2018 Hyundai Elantra, which is another one in this category, is also, this one actually has some warnings on it. So it's not performing nearly as well. And so these are some of the cars you would imagine to be some of the safest out there. I just wanted to pick some of the ones that are I kind of like interestingly being compared to the Tesla Model 3, even though we all know that the Tesla Model 3 is a much more premium kind of product. But just looking at all those there, your Camrys, Civics, and Accords, they all get 5-star ratings across the board. So it's great to see that the Model 3 is doing that as well. I'm curious what you guys think about that. Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, now this next story is an interesting one because it's about the production of the Model 3. And we do know that that production is one thing, but deliveries are another. And so all of these things Tesla needs to be working on, but it does appear that Tesla is just crushing it in terms of production of the Model 3. So Electrek is reporting that they achieved a new record day of Model 3 production, but they're cutting it close towards the end. Last Friday, the 14th, or 10 days ago, Tesla reported that they made more than 800 Model 3s, and then on Sunday they dropped down to 325. This is from an Electrek source, is what I'm quoting from here. Now, 3,800 Model 3s were produced from the 14th through the 21st. That is a good amount. If Tesla keeps getting close to the $800 Model 3s for this week to close out the quarter, they could hit 50,000 Model 3s for the quarter. They're currently believed to be at over 46,000 Model 3s for the quarter, and 6 days of 800 production is 4,800 on top of that. Now, it kind of goes against a little bit what Elon had been saying about doubling the production from the previous quarter. But we'll see. We've only got, I think this is the last week of Q3, and we should get an update letter a week later, and then the earnings call a month after that, so sometime in November. And so then we'll kind of have a much clearer picture of how the year is shaping up by then. Now, with that, I wanted to just check on the Model 3 tracker. This is what Bloomberg, Tom Randall, and Dean Halford created. A wonderful kind of tool for us to look at the data. Now, you can see the total Model 3 production here that they're reporting. You can see what Tesla has reported, 41,000 as of the end of Q2. And what Bloomberg's estimating is 91,000. So you can see that trend continuing to rise. And then you can see the weekly production rate here, I think is what you're seeing, where they tapped out. They almost hit 6,000. Or they hit 5,000. It's been kind of going down since then. We know that there was a fire at the Gigafactory, and that there were some other issues, and that they may have stopped production to change over some of the equipment or something like that. But it's an interesting question to see kind of what's going to happen with this. We should know much more very soon, and I'm thrilled about it because more. I mean, the irony of this whole thing is that a lot of times people will say, "Oh, well, that's just production. That's not sales." But when you have such a giant backlog like Tesla does, that effectively is sales. And there are all kinds of delivery things going on right now. We'll talk a little bit more about that down the road, because I think that is their biggest bottleneck, is delivering the cars, which is what they need to do in order for the people to qualify for the tax credit, as well as for them to count on the books in terms of that quarter's numbers. So let me know what you think about that. I'm thrilled. I hope to see this trend kind of flip back up, and hopefully they can get up closer to that 6,000 number before the end of the year is really what I'm putting it at. I'm more conservative on these estimates than they are, clearly. I think Elon had previously said, by 2018, they'd be up to 10,000. Now, and even back then, I doubted that number before, that they could even get there. Now, I just don't even see that as being possible. Definitely not in 2018, maybe not ever at the Fremont factory. Wait for the China plant to come online and we'll see those kind of numbers, but not yet. Okay, next story, I want to talk about, this is something that I don't typically get into this stuff, but it does affect Tesla and it does affect us. And it comes back to a tweet that Elon sent on August 7th of 2018. And he said, I'm considering taking Tesla private at $420, funding secured. Now, the part in controversy here is that last part, the funding secured. Because if that wasn't true at the time, Elon may have committed a crime. And the SEC just opened a new probe into, this is not the SEC, it's the Department of Justice, are now investigating Tesla over this tweet from a criminal standpoint. And so this is separate from the SEC probe, which is civil. Now, the Department of Justice probe is looking at whether there are criminal intent to defraud investors. And so that is kind of this. So, that's where it gets a little bit tougher. And so you can see, here's essentially what's going on. So if this story popped up to you recently and you thought, we already talked about that, this is kind of old, what's going on? Well, that's what's happening now, is that this is a criminal investigation from the Department of Justice. This isn't the civil investigation from the SEC. And the idea is that whether or not there was criminal intent to defraud investors. And forget the fact that we'll look at whether or not CNBC or Chanos or some of these guys are also doing that, because I think there's two sides to this coin here. You really got to think about it holistically, not just this one instance. So the Atlantic did a much deeper dive here, and just to summarize this, they're looking at the laws behind it, and so they're saying a straightforward analysis of the letter of the law would ask, was Musk's statement material? That is, would it or did it move the market? And two, was it true? And the law that they're referencing is right here. I'll put links to all this in the description so you don't have to take notes. And so this law, this employment of manipulative and deceptive devices. I love legalese because it always is the most confusing random stuff that doesn't make sense to anyone. So the idea is that it should be unlawful for any person, directly or indirectly, by the use of any means or instrumentality of interstate commerce, or of the mails, or of any facility of any national securities exchange, to employ any device, scheme, or artifice to defraud, to make any untrue statement of a material fact, or to omit to state a material fact necessary in order to make the statements made, in the light of the circumstances under which they were made, not misleading, or to engage in any act, practice, or course of business which operates or would operate as a fraud to deceit upon any person in connection with the purchase or sale of any security. So security in this sense is a share of stock. That's, the securities is a term we use to describe shares. And so the thing that about this is whether or not this statement was true. Because if it was true, then there's nothing. Then there's nothing to investigate. And now Elon has came out and said that it was, and there was something about the Saudi Arabian wealth fund, I think it's called, in whether or not they actually had those conversations. And then there's this whole concept of, well, was that enough to actually say funding secured, or did you need to have basically like a term sheet, like an actual a legal agreement, hasn't been executed, but it's been agreed upon. So there's all kinds of discussion about that, and so. Tesla came out with this, or let's just cover the news bit about it. So on the day of the news of this investigation, which was just last week, the shares dropped more than 6% from the opening price of $296.69 to $277.91. They rebounded quickly once Tesla's statement came out saying that they expect the investigation should be resolved quickly at 1 p.m. So here's them saying, the matter should be resolved quickly. And I would presume that this is related to what they had already said, and that there was intent, there was enough for him to legally make those statements, and so hopefully they can just kind of put it behind him. Now it came back, like I said, it dropped 6%, and then it came back, so it ended up dropping about 4% overall on the day, and it's been trending back upwards since then. So Tesla's statement, just to read it about this matter, was last month, following Elon's announcement that he was considering taking the company private, Tesla received a voluntary request for documents from the Department of Justice and has been cooperative in responding to it. We have not received a subpoena, a request for testimony, or any other formal process. We respect the DOJ's desire to get information about this and believe that the matter should be quickly resolved as they review the information they have received. So basically, that's the idea, that Tesla gave them the information that, hey, like them asking, hey, what's going on with this? Prove it. And them saying, cool, here's the proof. And so hopefully they'll review that and it's done. I expect that if not, while I'm recording this, but maybe sometime this week we'll hear the outcome of this, and hopefully that will lift things back up. By the way, shout out to Phil LeBeau. Super nice to meet you back at the Tesla Semi event. So the stock right now, it's at 297, which I believe was actually, it's higher than it did before this investigation was announced. Oh, it looks like, okay, maybe 298 now. So it's still down on the day, not much, but overall, it doesn't seem like this had a major impact on Tesla. So it's one of those things that I think we'll just put it past us. I think it's something that we won't really hear too much about in the future. But I'm curious what you guys think about this. Clearly, Elon tweeting has caused some problems for himself, which I typically avoid talking about on here because they're just kind of irrelevant. But this stuff directly impacted Tesla, and I think that's where I wanted to cover it and share it with you and get your thoughts. So leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys think about that. Was he in the wrong? According to what they've stated, he did have funding secured for that based on the statements they posted on their blog. So if that's the case, he didn't break a law, and everyone's freaking out about this stuff, and you're kind of, I don't know. Let me know what you think down in the comments about that. So now, next story, speaking of the Saudi Arabian Wealth Fund, they actually have invested in an electric vehicle company called Lucid. And Lucid here, if you don't remember, it's been a while since we really heard from them. They came out with something called the Lucid Air, and I'm just kind of want to walk you through what the Lucid Air is, and then we'll get into the story here. It's this kind of high-end, very luxurious, kind of over-the-top, wildly luxurious electric car. They promise all kinds of amenities, and MKBHD actually did a review of it, I think a year or so ago. Really cool, really cool. And those guys, I'm all for it. Just to be clear, I know I did this Dear Tesla Killers video where I pretty much just railed on the German automakers and some of the other ones coming out with these half-ass attempts. Lucid is, I think, doing a great job, and I hope they're successful because this thing looks awesome. And the price is at $60,000. So this is really cheap for what they're looking for. And if you look, I mean, the car looks beautiful. It has some really cool modern features. I could probably do without those rims there. And then I think in the back seat reclines. So it's like that's like a really high end, like Maybach kind of thing. And then I think the thing that I was really excited about was so look at you can see what it looks like here. Very similar to Tesla, right? All-wheel drive. And then going the distance. So Lucid's proven, well, I'll read this to you. It's probably hard to see on the screen. Lucid's proven world-class battery technology and highly efficient power electronics enable over 400 miles of range. Say that again. 400 miles of range. If they get this, if this is real, this will be the longest range electric car, which is amazing because at that point, range anxiety truly is gone. And so, I mean, I'm all for Lucid doing this. I think it's great. So the story, back to that, was that the Saudi Arabian Wealth Fund, I really need to get that right, I apologize, Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund, got invested $1 billion in Lucid to help them in their efforts. So where they're sort of at is that they're still in development stage. They, I believe, have broken ground, or they're looking to break ground on a factory in Arizona in a town named Casa Grande. I'm from Phoenix, so you're not allowed to call it Casa Grande. Okay, guys, come on, learn. It's just a little bit of Spanish for you. It's maybe about an hour and a half. Geez, isn't even that far. An hour south of Phoenix, and I think it's a great place to build. Right, it's very low risk in terms of like any natural disasters going on there. You have access to resources. If you need to buy batteries from somewhere, up in Nevada, I hear there's a place that has some batteries. They might be able to ship them down to you in Arizona pretty quickly. So I believe that's where they're at. Now the stock didn't really take the Tesla stock didn't really take a significant hit by this. There was a brief blip, but it traded up by midday. So people were, again, with the Tesla killer nonsense, going off on that. But the really cool thing is, like, I think that, this adds validity to Tesla claiming that the Saudi Arabian wealth fund was looking to invest. And also, I think that if these cars get delivered, they're going to be awesome. Now, the sad part is that they won't be available until 2020. So again, in 2020, it's going to be a different world. We're going to see a Model S or X with 400 miles of range or more. And their target market is China, which also does make sense because the incentives in China are really good. But, I'm bummed because, these cars being made only 5 or 6 hour drive from where I live. I'd love to check them out. I'd love to maybe own one. Whether or not they'll use the supercharger network, I think that would be a key thing. But as a startup looking to do this, I would not be surprised if they actually work closely with Tesla, because it's one of those things where, and my whole point about the Dear Tesla Killer thing, so in San Diego, we're a big beer town. And when I first moved here almost 13 years ago now, you'd go to these little breweries, and they all had this sense of like, we're all in it together, right? Like all of the craft breweries in San Diego would like Budweiser in one day would waste more beer than they would make an entire year, kind of a thing. And so it was like all like us versus them, right? It was more like the big guy versus the little guy. And I kind of feel like that's what we should be seeing in this space. You should see the Lucid and the Neos of the world, like the electric car startups, and there's a few other ones working with Tesla. Tesla is kind of leading the way, and so it would make a whole lot of sense to like get your batteries from them if you can. Maybe they would be more likely to sell them to you than others. Partner with them on things like the supercharger. I really hope Lucid and these guys do well and introduce very viable cars. $60,000 for a car that goes 400 miles. I don't know if the base model will go that, but that's wild. And really, I think just pushing the bar. You're going to make Mercedes look like a joke when you're putting out a car that cheap, that awesome, and with that much range. So yeah, good stuff. Let me know what you guys think. Would you guys buy one of those? I think it's a compelling argument. We'll see in 2020 what the landscape looks like. Hopefully, I'll still be here joining you, on a weekly basis, doing this kind of thing. So let me know what you guys think down below. All right, next, some fun stuff going on down at the Gigafactory or up at the Gigafactory, depending on where you're located. There was a drone flyover here. Don't know if this was legal or how they obtained this footage. I'm just gonna ignore that. But you can see down over here that there are some solar panels, and so this solar roof is under construction, and the plan is to build a 70 megawatt. That's megawatt rooftop solar array, which would be the largest rooftop solar system in the world by about 7 times, 700%. There are, of course, larger ground solar farms, but this would be the largest rooftop one in the world. Tesla's goal is to power the whole 1.9 million square foot factory from renewable energy. And by the way, 1.9 million square feet, this is a small amount for what the end goal will be. Gigafactory 1 is where the power walls and power packs are produced, if you're unfamiliar. And let me just think, if I fast forward a little bit, you can kind of see more. I wonder if did they really? Is that where they got the shot from? So Electric has like a really close-up photo of this. They just flew their drone there. Pretty cool. So Gigafactory under development, growing. Great place to have solar out there. Obviously, they need energy, and they are making these things. Or they're not making solar panels there, but they're making all the powertrains and the batteries for the Model 3s, Model S's, and Model X's. So good stuff. Excited to see more at the Gigafactory coming up. All right, last thing I'm going to mention is about a response that my friend Ryan McCaffrey got from Elon just recently asking or saying, hey, me and my friends, us Tesla owners, would be delighted to volunteer for free to help with deliveries in times like this. I mean, I would argue we should get like coffee or donuts or something, but fine. We can't do their paperwork, but we can do their orientations. It's fun to educate new owners and see their joy and enthusiasm. If you're unfamiliar, Ryan has a podcast, a fantastic one called Ride the Lightning, the Tesla unofficial podcast. So go check that out if you're into those kind of things. Elon actually responded, I was shocked by this, by the way, said, wow, thanks for offering help. The coming week is incredibly intense. If any current Tesla owners would like to help educate new owners, they could head to the Tesla delivery centers during midday on Saturday and Sunday and morning, evening on weekdays. That would be super appreciated. So this was on the 21st, just 3 days ago. So there you have it. I don't know if you guys have taken delivery of a new vehicle and you're, in someone that wasn't an employee, but just an advocate, helped you. I'd love to hear your story and how that went. I found that when I went recently with a friend who was getting his Model 3, the actual employee, I mean, maybe I'm not the right person to be there doing this, but the employee was giving me advice that I wouldn't recommend as an existing owner with the kind of experience and knowledge I have there. So yeah, curious what you guys think. Hopefully this will help Tesla deliver more cars, which has been a clear bottleneck. I love the idea of kind of crowdsourcing this, of kind of doing it, from this kind of grassroots effort, because that, I think Ryan is right. A lot of us would love to do this. And so I haven't been able to do it yet. Weekends are really tough for me. And unfortunately, these next couple weeks are insanely busy. But yeah, let me know if you guys are available. Call up your service center or just head down there, figure out where to go, and help deliver some of those cars so we can see maybe profitability in Q3. How wild would that be? All right. That's it for the show. I'm going to now jump over to our Q&A, which starts with Patreon. If you would like to support the show on Patreon, one of the cool benefits is that I read your questions first during this time here at the Q&A. And so the first question comes to us from Crafty Geek. Data analysis idea over the past X years. X is that 10 or you just... how much has gas inflated in price, national average and or by state from Gas Buddy? How much has average grid electricity inflated? If these trends continue, how much does the true cost of ownership of EVs versus ICE diverge over the next 5 to 10 years? That's an interesting question, because yes, gas prices have went up and they've went down, but actually so electricity prices have also went up. And it varies greatly by region. Some friends of mine, they get like 5 cents a kilowatt hour, which to me is like almost 10 times cheaper than what I get here in California. So yeah, it's tough. It's one of those things. Interesting idea. If you have data sources and you can point them, send them over. I'd love to see them because that would be interesting analysis. I agree. Thanks for the question, Crafty. All right, now let's head over to our Crowdcast questions. And everyone in Crowdcast, go vote, go vote. Going to start doing the questions here. Okay, Tim asks, hi Ben, I own both a rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive Model 3. I can definitely tell that the all-wheel drive is not as efficient to drive watt-hours per mile as the rear-wheel drive. Do you have any data from Tesla or otherwise confirming this and or showing the actual difference in efficiency? So I did look at this, Tim, and unfortunately I didn't see the right codes. I was trying to pull that up beforehand because I saw your question there, and I was trying to look, and it just didn't. I didn't have the right code to it's not just easily listed as all-wheel drive versus not. So I will get into that because I am interested, and more importantly, I'm interested in the watt hours per mile. Of course, the hard part with this is that the watt hours per mile also can vary greatly on your driving habits. And with the rear-wheel drive versus all-wheel drive, you may be gunning it more than you think. I don't know. It's hard to say. So it's really to do a test like that. In theory, they should be more efficient because the dual motors, I believe, if they follow the same model as the S, is that they are smaller and more efficient. That's why you get more range. But here, it's really hard to say without having data on it. So I am going to do some more digging into the efficiency data, and parsing that out will be an interesting one. It might be more interesting to parse that out in the Model S and X because we have more data that's longer. So I wonder, and then then we could kind of see if those trends also apply to the Model 3. So thanks for the question. I don't have a direct answer for you now, but I will likely dig into it soon. Walt asks, I've heard that if we take our Model 3 into service, they will do a tire rotation free every 7,500 miles. What do you know about this? I don't know specifically, but I would say it's a good bet. They tend to do a lot of those things for free, so I would just give them a call and ask and, see what they say. Thanks for the question, Walt. Phil asks, hi Ben, is driving on autopilot better than watt hours per mile than without on similar speeds? Interesting. I don't know. My guess is yes, because on the autopilot, it's like cruise control and you'll be a steady speed versus even if you don't think you're doing it, when you're not on autopilot, you're going to be speeding up and slowing down a lot more. And that can affect your actual watt hours per mile. I don't have data on it, but I would guess so. I will. And in fact, I don't know if in Tesla we know when you're on autopilot or not. That'll be another question that I'll have to dig into. Thanks for the thought there, Phil. Donald asks if any information on the possible cross-traffic warning for Model 3. Model 3 is low, so it is difficult to see when backing out of a parking space. People see your backup lights and keep coming anyway. Yep, in California especially, that is the case. So I don't know. I would love that. I don't know if they have the right sensors, though, is the problem. Like, I don't know how far out those backup sensors go. And if the cameras, yeah, possibly. Maybe in version 9, hopefully we'll see, because I think that's a good idea. Leo asks, there are a lot of parallels with iPhone and Tesla. People waiting in line, CEO making all the calls, pretty much trying to be the one-man army. That took a toll on Jobs, and it looked like it was taking a toll on Elon as well. While that does assure that things go their way, when Steve Jobs passed, the innovation arguably kind of went away as well. I would not argue that point with you. Do you think that would happen if Musk ever leaves or, God forbid, passes away? Well, we're all going to pass away at some point in time, so wouldn't say God forbid. It's just bound to happen. If he were to, let's say, be removed as CEO, which is probably a more likely case, what would happen to the company? I don't know. It depends, I guess, on how far along they are in the maturation of their processes. Certainly when Steve Jobs, first he got fired and then they brought him because they wanted a more stable CEO. That didn't work. And so they brought him back. And then that's when we got the iPod and all these other things. So in all of those cases with Steve Jobs, I think what he was doing was kind of bringing that creativity. And I don't even know if he brought it, right? It was probably someone on his team or something like that. We give him credit, but yeah, I think like the creative part of this whole thing is combining things in a novel way and making that a reality. And so Elon certainly has done that with all the products that Tesla has made. But I don't know if it would necessarily go away. Like the cars, with Franz there, with the batteries and the tech with JB. I don't know. I think Tesla would not achieve as much without Elon there. But I don't know if it would really hurt them tremendously. Yeah, it's a tough one to think about. Yeah, thanks for the question, Leah. Bill asks, let's go up. I was thinking about some of the rides at Walt Disney World in Florida, and how cool would it be if Tesla SpaceX took over the sponsorship of either Test Track or Mission Space in Future World Epcot? Do you agree? It would be far more fitting to have all the Teslas and semi-trucks showcased as you came off the test track, which does feature electric-powered cars on the ride, rather than a bunch of old-fashioned GM ICE vehicles. The kids and adults would love it. Yeah, I think that's a cool idea. I doubt it'll ever happen, though. Tesla certainly wouldn't pay any money to do that because that's not what they do. They don't spend any money on advertising or marketing or whatever. So if anything, Disney would have to decide that they want to do it and buy them, from Tesla and do it themselves pretty much 100%. I do always wonder about this. In fact, I was at the zoo with my son this weekend, and Alaska Airlines sponsors this kind of Skytram thing that we have here at the San Diego Zoo. And it's just a weird thing, I think, for them to sponsor. I was looking at it going like, how much money does it cost for them to get this sponsored bit? And how much do they really get out of it? It seems weird that companies would spend any money on that versus something like digital advertising or anything else where you can just measure it explicitly. So yeah, if this does happen, I've never been. I have no idea what either of those rides or that area is like. It would have to be all on Disney, I would imagine. I don't think Tesla would do anything to support that. So yeah, maybe propose it to them. Yeah, thanks, Phil. Alex asks, Ben, it would be interesting to analyze data related to order delivery of Model 3 configurations in real world comparing to Tesla estimates. It would help people to make buying decisions closer to January 1st to reduction of tax refund. Man, yeah, it is. But the bottom line is, if the tax refund is your biggest like thing, you're really focused on that, then you just got to buy as soon as possible. There's just no way around it. I don't think anyone can make a reliable guess on any of these things. It was fun in the very early days, using whatever logic we could muster up and coming up with speculation. And surprisingly, some of those results have been fairly accurate. But I don't know. In this state, it's really, really difficult. I think without the data that Tesla has on it, it would be pretty much close to impossible. I mean, for it to be close to accurate, you would need tens of thousands of data points at least, and that's just not going to be reliable, especially with people hand keying it in. It's just not going to happen. So, yeah. Anyways, order soon. Thanks, Alex. Tim asks, Big's Model 3 complaint that you and your wife had was a Bluetooth entry. Yep, my experience and that of others tends to suggest that things get flaky when two people are using one car. Somehow, one phone may start working better than others. Something. Now that your wife drives a Model 3 exclusively, does she find that it is unlocking better? Yeah, it has been unlocking better for her. Although it's still two people using it. So in terms of we have two phones connected to it, and half the time the car's in the garage, I'm sitting in the living room, which is just right on the other wall there, and it's connected. I think that is where the phantom drain really comes from. I don't know if it's the two phone thing or the build of the software or the hardware or what, but it definitely seems to be a scattered thing. But in all regards, thankfully, they're making a key fob, and that's going to become the standard. So I'm looking forward to that. Thanks, Tim. Sonatag asks, I got a Loaner S in Tempe for a few months ago. It was speed limited to 80 miles per hour, which is generally okay. I got another Loaner S this weekend, and not only is it speed limited, but it was also locked into chill mode. That's interesting. Is this a new standard or a fluke? Any other loaners to find the car locked? Yeah, that's weird. I would call your service center and ask what's going on with that. Maybe that was an accident. Maybe got locked in there. Maybe got set in there because people were going nuts with it prior to you. I would call them. I don't think that's right. I mean, I've asked them before, do you not have this thing? And they've just said no. It's just maybe an accident or something. So yeah, I'd call them and figure it out. Good luck. Bill asks, Ben, I paid 2.5 years ago to reserve a Model 3, paid 3.5 months. I paid 2.5 years ago to reserve a Model 3, paid 3.5 months to order the Model 3, and last weekend paid off my Model 3. Just had my delivery date and time blown off. No car, no money, no delivery date. This is a frequent occurrence. I don't know about that. I'm guessing no, because I don't think a lot of people really pay it off in advance of getting it. But yeah, certainly delivery dates can slip, and there are all kinds of issues. And at this scale, it's not surprising that things happen. So, but hopefully you get it soon. Thanks, Bill. Frank asks, I heard from Tesla showroom employee, what we know as of now is that the roof on the base Model 3 will be all metal. I believe that to be true. The front seats will be mechanical and not electric. That sounds like it would be right. 12-way adjustable. The seats will be fabric, and the console compartment will not have the closable covers. That's weird. Have you heard any or all of this? Yeah, so I believe the metal roof was confirmed a long time ago. Or, I mean, at that point, maybe it was rumored. But maybe now, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The mechanical seats do make sense to me as well. I haven't heard that officially. The covers, not having the covers seems odd to me. I don't know why you wouldn't have those on, just to be some plastic. So, I think it's probably more expensive to make them without it, right? Because they'd have to change and it'd have to be different. I don't know. Yeah, interesting. I'm excited to see what that looks like when it comes out. It's gonna be really telling. I bet it's gonna be awesome. So, thanks for the question, Frank. Sonatag asks again, could you look into doing an in-depth comparison of the contrast between Tesla and alternatives such as TeslaFi and Tesla Spy? No. Someone else can, but I am a part of Tesla, and so being on the board of that company and helping with the product direction, I could not do an unbiased review. I will say that we are extremely sensitive on things like phantom drain. We are very data focused and privacy focused, and the app is free. So, there's a lot of benefits to it. And we also have people working on it constantly. So yeah, not going to do a review because I couldn't do an unbiased one. And with that, I'll say, go check out Tesla. Technicato, it's a cool name. Topic, quality. Now that more than 100,000 Model 3s have been produced, can we talk about how Tesla can improve its quality? I see, even with my personal experience, to some issues that the company has taken care of, has to take care of for repeatedly. This affect both satisfaction and profits due to rework. We all want Tesla to succeed a big time, but it might be fine-tuned as quality checks. What do you think? Yeah, sure. Yeah, quality is always a thing. Certainly the cars coming out now are far better than the ones like when I got mine back in January. Talking to Tesla, sometimes they make fixes to the actual manufacturing line every single day. Where a problem gets reported within 24 hours, it's being fixed. I think the key to keep in mind when it comes to Teslas or electric cars is batteries and software. Batteries are solid. Nobody does it better. And this is the most advanced battery tech in any car in the world. And the software is also incredibly good. And the good thing about the software is that we can update it, and they do. So yeah, I think that there's a lot there. Those are the things that I really focus on with it. So yeah, curious if you have any specific thing. But I think over time it's gonna get better. Thanks for the question. Vincent asks, does the Tesla app work on the Apple Watch to control the car? Don't know. Don't believe there is one yet, but maybe. Ali asks, I just took delivery of my Model 3 Performance on Saturday. Congrats. Is it me or Tesla really cranking these cars out? I went from order to delivery in less than 30 days. Yeah, I talked to someone last week that had no reservation or anything, from order to delivery of a regular Model 3 within 2 weeks. But yeah, things are growing. It's going to be wild. I'm really curious what's going to happen here with these Q3 numbers. Mike asks, I'm scheduled to take delivery of my all-wheel drive Model 3 tomorrow morning. Since I know delivery centers are rushing to keep up, any advice on things I should focus on, check to ensure I don't have to bring it immediately back in for service? Any other tips for delivery day? Yeah, and it looks like somebody put a checklist there. It looks like somebody's doing that. I think any misalignment or paint issues would be key. Photograph, video, do all that stuff right there. Check the software version. I don't even know what the latest is, but check that. Make sure because they could update that like right there for you in probably 20 minutes. Yeah, those are the main things I would say. And yeah, watch all the videos you can. There's I think Tesla has a whole series. If you go to the Tesla YouTube channel on like how everything works, I'm sure you're probably familiar with all of it, but it is helpful just to kind of review those one last time. So there you go. That's what I would say. And congrats, Mike. Keith asks, good afternoon, Ben. Proud owner of an S Model 3. Summer has passed. Status of version 9 autopilot update, and will this include a web browser? Man, I hope so. Just talked about it earlier. It seems that things are getting closer and closer, and I think Elon reported a while ago, like, yeah, it's coming, but we'll see. He always is rather optimistic about how things are going to go. I hope to get it this year. Yeah, it'd be really interesting. And as soon as we do, of course, I'll go shoot some videos with it and kind of give you my thoughts on it. Thanks for the question, Keith. Danticus asks, can you set up links to everything you are working on? I have been enjoying Teslanomics and now our ludicrous future. Thanks. That's the other podcast I'm working on. Another channel project besides those that you have started and are working on. Dad's Cocktails, super jealous, and this sounds like a great channel I would want to create. Yeah, okay. So I'll just give you the breakdown here. So things I have going on right now. So Teslanomics, obviously. Now Teslanomics highlights, because most people aren't going to watch this whole show, and you can get just the digestible bit. So that's a good one. Our Ludicrous Future is a podcast. Myself, Joe Scott, who has an amazing channel called Answers with Joe, and my friend Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut. We get together each week and we just talk about SpaceX, Tesla, the future of tech, science, anything new and interesting coming out. And that's also a podcast. You can get that on iTunes or whatever. Go to just ourludicrousfuture.com. You can see links to everything there. You can even listen right there as well. As well as you can get our email list, and we'll email you whenever we have a new episode. So that's what's going on now. The Dad's Cocktails thing, totally want to do that. I'm also doing a data academy. So if you guys are interested in looking at getting a job in the field of data, something that I worked in for nearly 20 years, and really every level from report writer to chief data officer at all the biggest tech companies in the world. I'm doing a course to help you get a job in the field of data and help navigate those waters and really kind of see what will be best for you and where you could actually kind of fit in, and then how you could grow once you're there. Surprise, surprise, it's not the technical skills that'll get you the job. So you can go learn about that at ftdacademy.com. That's Free the Data Academy. And so that's the big thing. It's crunch time right now. I've got 2 weeks before I launch that, and so yeah, if you're into that, go get it, because then that's when that's going to launch. After that, maybe I could do the Dad's Cocktails thing, because I would love just to do a YouTube channel talking about cocktails, because I'm super into it. I've been into it for years, and yeah, it's fun. Cool. Thanks for the chance there, Dan. Dan D, any updates on charging Model 3 using the CHAdeMO adapter? Haven't done it. I think Tesla sells it, don't they? Do they not? Let me see. Anyways, yeah, I'm not going to go look. But yeah, go to, if you log into your Tesla account, and then there's the accessories, there's charging, and I believe they have a CHAdeMO adapter and it should work for all of them. So yeah, go for it. Not going to be built in, though. Certainly not. So that's what I would do. Mayank asks, I have ordered my Model 3P Red, and I was supposed to pick it up at 9:20 and got a text from the delivery center that there was a delay until this date. Do not know when my car will be delivered. Has there been any update on the logistics front? Are they improving? I hope so. I really do. You know, it's one of those things. I agree with you that it's amazing. So my friend Joe was saying, it's incredible how, you know, a company with such innovative technology, it's able to do things in such amazing ways, can just get totally screwed up and twist and turn from like an invoice or paperwork. And so that goes back to my whole theme with Tesla. It just, companies in general, Tesla no different, that people, a lot of companies don't really look at their business from a systems thinking standpoint. They look at it, they like to play the game of whack-a-mole, where one thing pops up and they need to focus on that, and then something else suffers as a result, and then that one pops up, and they focus on that, and then they have to go back, and it's just you know, ping-ponging back and forth, trying to figure out what is the most important thing to work on and just tackling that. It's basically a never-ending grind, and it really sucks. The better way to do it is to think more holistically about your company in terms of like, oh, okay, like basic ideas. We want to, you know, make more sales. Cool, let's hire more salespeople. Let's triple our sales staff. All right, well, if you're going to triple your sales staff, you probably need more people on the support groups that help the salespeople. Like if you have sales consultants, or if you have customer service or operations, you know, maybe we need more servers or something to run this. You know, so IT has to be involved. Like it's more difficult, but it's more sustainable to think in a systems format. And so what we're seeing, what you're experiencing here, is essentially Tesla not doing that. Tesla playing the game of whack-a-mole, which is how most businesses do. And Elon, you know, not being a great businessman, or really much of a businessman at all, you know, it's no surprise that he doesn't have this mindset when it comes to how to run this business. So not to say that he hasn't achieved a lot and that, you know, I could do better or anything like that, just that most businesses don't know how to do things in a way that like it all just continues to operate smoothly. And so, you know, I think that's just what we're seeing here. Call it growing pains, call it whatever you want. I hope that we're able to get past it, because, you know, prior to the Model 3 kind of madness, if you ordered a Model S, Model X, the things went smoothly for the most part. So yeah, hopefully this will all be past this soon. And I hope you get your car. All right. Oh, we got a couple more here. Russ asks, will they give the key fob to existing owners? Yes, you just call and order it, or, you know, upon availability. I'm going to call maybe today, maybe tomorrow, and ask, because I think I would love one. So yeah, it's free to existing owners. You just have to make the request. Anupam asks, does Tesla list urban superchargers located somewhere? Yep, on the Tesla website where you look for superchargers, they're listed there. Anthony De Gregorio, have you decided if you're going to trade in for the Performance Model 3? I have decided, and the answer is no. I'm not interested in the Performance Model 3. James asks, owner use of cameras for security, vandalism, and such. Yeah, so with version 9, apparently that's coming. I'm dying because, you know, my friend Kim just had her car damaged and had to do some body work, and it was painful to see. Thankfully there was a security camera at the place, but yeah, that sucks. I totally want the dash cam to work. Okay, last one here, Hal. Oh, poor start, Ben. Oh well. Thank you all for joining me. I appreciate everyone, and don't forget, check out my highlight channel, Teslanomics.co/HL, and Our Ludicrous Future, the new podcast me, Joe, and Tim are doing every week, usually Thursdays. Scheduling is a bit tough with 3 people, but that's when we like to put it out. So appreciate you guys, and I will see you back here next time.